What's on today's agenda? Could it be more glass? Why, how good of you to notice. That's very observant of you. This is not just glass. This is a big chunk of glass. Oh yeah. Oh yes. Let's see. You know what I'm looking for. You know what it is, yes. 9. No, I didn't say no. I said the number 9. Yeah. I do kind of want to say 9 when I want to work, when I'm going to work this, because I don't really want to. Yeah, because the glass is okay, but it can be disappointing. But you know what makes up for it being disappointing and sometimes very fragile and very crushy? It's cheap. And I think these pieces that were sent to me were free for George. George Sanders sent this to me, one of my subscribers. And I think he picks these up for free and then gifted them to me. I hope they were free. It didn't cost too much, if they did cost anything. So what is it? It looks like the makings of an ulcer. Yeah. Other than that, it just looks like it's been banged up quite a bit. I need to figure out how to get into this without ruining the size of it. Right? We're going to maximize it. Let's do that one first, right? Or should we do the easier one? Let's knock around the blue one for a little while. Let's knock that one around a little while and see. I need my other glove. For glass, I need 2 gloves. Yeah. Yeah. Why? Because, well, for this size anyway, if any of these spalls come back at me onto my hand, I'm in big trouble. I think this is small enough that I can hold it. Yeah, okay. So here we go. Let's just sample it a little bit. Do we have some crackage? We got some crackage. Hopefully that's not too deep. It's got bubbles in it, like it's a piece of slag. Someone wanted me to work a slab that's like 3/8 inch thick. There'll be plenty of these spalls that I can work. The issue was, diving flakes and stuff like that. Step fractures and diving flakes. Hinges. I've got binges where I get lots of hinges. Yes, I do. I'm not immune. I get napping binges. And if I get too tired, I get hinges. But these fan out nicely and feather out nicely. Yeah. How do you avoid the hinges and all that? Well, they don't start rearing their ugly heads until it starts getting really thin. That's the problem. That's one of the Flintknapping dilemmas that you call a problem. Yeah, the problems start to rear their ugly heads when it gets thin, because flakes like to be convex, or they like to travel along a convex surface, I should say, because flakes are curved. All flakes have a slight curvature. The longer the flake, the more tendency there is for it to be curved, right? It's very difficult or almost impossible to get a long straight flake. if you notice throughout the archaeological record, the long flakes that are taken from big cores are a lot of times they're slightly curved. At the minimum, they're slightly curved. Some of them are highly curved, right? You hardly ever see anything that's very straight. Now, if you got a flake like this, that'll be straight. You should just, keep hitting glass until you get a flake like that, and then just trim around the edges and you got your thin arrowhead, flat thin arrowhead. Yeah. What are you doing knapping it down to that thickness? Just get a flat flake and you're done after knapping around the edges. That solves the problem. Now, is this a hinge? Yeah, that's a hinge right there. How do you avoid that? You gotta wave your magic wand, because that's what it takes. It's just physics. Not enough energy to complete the flake, so it's gotta leave somehow, or it's gotta crack. So it's either gotta scoop out like a hinge, or crack when there's not enough energy to complete the rest of the flake. Or there's a defect in there that says, oh, I can take the easy way out and just do a 90 degree, because it does a 90 degree angle in there somewhere. Okay. Did that answer it? No? You don't want theory, you want practice? You want to see it in practice, not in theory? Yeah, I know. The way to avoid the hinges and stuff is just take it easy. Don't do the impossible, or try to do the impossible, because there's a reason why they call it the impossible. You might say, well, I get hinges even on 1/4 inch long flakes. Yes, I do. I want to see that. If you get hinges on 1/4 inch long flakes, I want to see that. I mean, if it's a common thing for you. I mean, I get them too, but it's not that common. The hinges usually occur when you try to do a flute, or a long flake like this, or one of these jobbers. I want to see someone that has a constant problem with hinges on short flakes. Because I have a feeling that it's the long flakes that are getting you into trouble. Am I right? I think I'm right. So how do you solve the problem of making the long flakes obey? You're not going to like the answer. No. The answer is you don't make long flakes. But I have to make long flakes in order to look like I got street cred. Yeah, I need street cred. I need to be a good napper. You can be a good napper without having to make long flakes. Just make all your pieces narrow, and then you can work your way up to wider and wider pieces. Yeah. You already been there and done that? You just can't get them wide? Is that it? Well, if you've been working at it for 10 years and you can't get them wide, then yeah, there might be a problem. But if you've been working at it 10 months and you can't get them wide, you got a ways to go. I hate to tell you, but there's not much sympathy, because people measure knapping experience in years, not months. And if you've been working at it for 10 weeks and you can't get long flakes without hinges or steps, join the club. That's the club we're all in. Might as well join it, because that's the largest club in Flintknapping. Not able to get long flakes after just simply weeks or months in doing this. No one told me how to make long flakes in the beginning. They showed me that they could do it. Why didn't they show me how to do it? Because they can't. You have to practice at it and do the same thing over and over and over again until you get different results. Yeah. Okay. See, I told you you're not going to like the answer. But I'm going to try to do this without lots of hinges. But even I get the hinges. Even me. Yeah. The most awesomest, tremendousest glass snapper in the universe. Even I get these. Right? No, I'm not the most awesomest. And I hate to say it, but neither are you. And it's beautiful. Because no one is going to be the most awesomest and never get these step fractures and hinges on long flakes. It's just an inevitability. Yeah, you might say, just do it. Just do it to where we can figure out where the starting point is or get a baseline, because I don't want to be lost. The baseline is, don't try to make the flakes too long. That's your baseline. Don't try to go past halfway. Okay? If you can go halfway or just a little bit past, you can still thin down the biface or whatever you're working on. Okay? Okay. Let me focus now. See, I'm not going past halfway very much. And they're feathering out nicely. Remind me not to blow on the surface of this, because the flakes, actually, the little shards and dust go everywhere. Okay? Remind me not to do that. I just got some in my face. See, I got that hinge. I wasn't expecting it, but it kind of wanted to dive in. I didn't use all that much force, so it shouldn't have done that. I was just looking to get rid of that, not for it to go into this area. So I guess the more predictable your flakes become, the easier it is to avoid those, because I wouldn't have intentionally shot into that, because it's trying to scoop it. Now these are the hackles. See those? So it looks like the force, instead of going straight like I wanted, it curved in the wind going that way. But these hackles point toward the point of origin of the force. Yeah. And you can see them on this side too. All these hackles. Yeah, I had forgotten what they were called. I looked up fracture mechanics at one time on glass and other materials, and I forgot what these things were called. And you can see I bounced it. I hit, but it bounced back instead of following through. That's because I intentionally held back on the force. Why? I don't want it to overshoot. I could hit it harder and then overshoot this, but I don't want to overshoot it. Why? Because I like to have options. The width gives me options. Now, if I don't need the width, if it's too thin to hit on for the kind of flakes that I need, I will trim it down to where it's thicker. It needs to have a robust edge to get the flakes I need. And if I have a thin edge, I've got to remove the width to get to that more robust edge. That's part of generating nice flakes. You got to have nice edges. Yeah. Okay. But we all know all this. I don't know what else to tell you, though. I really don't know. Just try not to go too far with the flakes, because they like to curve. They like to be curved. The longer they are, the more curved they like to be. Yeah. And you'll notice so far on most of my hinges, they hinge into a thicker area. So don't have these thick areas. Make sure you don't hit into a thick area. Well, this one branched out, so I couldn't help it, but that's what happens. It goes into an area that's too thick, not enough power to drive through the thick area. You get a hinge or a step. That's one reason why you get hinges or steps. Yeah. But if you're gentle, you don't hit into an area that's too tall, if it's flat, you can avoid that. So it has to do with both the strike and the surface. Now those of you who changed the channel earlier because I was talking too much smack, you missed that. The way to avoid hinges is both with the force and direction of the blow and the contour of the workpiece. Both of those are equally, I think, responsible for good flakes or bad flakes. If your surface is perfectly convex, the flakes like that because that's the shape that they like to travel in. If you can find out how curvy your flakes are like to be, then you make the surface that curvy. You match the curve on how what the flakes like to do. Some materials are very divey. That means the flakes like to be very curved. So that means you need to make the surface very curved so the flakes will enjoy their travels and they won't mess up. Okay? The flakes like to enjoy their travels. Yeah. And when they enjoy it, they don't mess up. If you force them to travel where they don't like to travel, they're going to mess up. Because they're going to be all bummed. Going to be all bummed out. Yeah. Not going to do a good job if they're not happy. They're happiest when the contour of the workpiece matches their curve preference. Yeah. And do different rocks have different curve preferences? Yes, they do. You gotta figure out what your stone is doing. Okay? Okay. Now, do some techniques produce more curved flakes than other techniques? That's a tough one to answer. My answer would be normally no. No. It's not the technique, because the technique mostly is what it mostly affects the start of the flake. The technique mostly affects the start of the flake and the middle of the flake. The ending of the flake is the least predictable. Even if you're perfect with the initiation, the ending is the least predictable place. Now, if you're getting all of your steps and hinges on the end, well, join the club. Everyone gets those because that's the most unpredictable part. All else being perfect, you still might get the hinges and step fractures at the end of the, on the termination of the flake, just because that's the most unpredictable part of any flake. So it's hard for me to give you an answer on something that unpredictable, other than the general requirement of having a smooth surface. Then the flakes will run nicely. But there's always a guy that says, well, how can I get a smooth surface if I can't get it to stop step fracturing? Take short flakes. Take short flakes. Take short flakes and make sure you get good at short flakes, and then you make them a little bit longer and a little bit longer. And eventually you'll get past halfway. It takes patience to get to where you can create a smooth surface up to the halfway point. And then once you get that accomplished, you can start driving them further. Okay? I don't recommend driving your flakes really far until you can get at least halfway without step fracturing. That's my recommendation. Okay? All right. See, these flakes, when I first started, these flakes were hard for me to get this kind of result where I don't overshoot, but I get very close to the other side. They might look easy, but they're not. They might look less skillful than a overshot, but they're not less skillful. They're about the same. And yeah, you can intentionally overshoot. You just don't know what's going to happen at the termination of the flake. It could be good, it could be bad. You don't know. Maybe it's more good than bad the better you get. Yeah, maybe. But you can only do so much. In some cases, the tools only could do so much. Your material might not be that great. That sort of thing. So it's still a dicey proposition for you. So I'm getting mostly crud flakes because I want to show you how to proceed to try to get the minimum number of steps and hinges. I'm not doing massive flakes, and I'm not trying to do more than I can normally do. If you're getting hinges and step fractures during the learning phase of generating longer flakes, that's normal. Don't ask me how to stop doing that, because you've got to be able to, I mean, that's the whole thing. You've got to experience it before you can know how to not do it. How can you know how to not do it until you know how to do it? Yeah. And it sounds funny, but I'm being serious. You have to experience it before you can start to tweak it so that you don't do it. But I want to know the tweaks first. Yeah, tell me the tweaks. Don't hold back the tweaks. I need the tweaks. Yeah, I know. I don't know what to tell you. Because it took me forever to be able to tweak it, and a lot of my tweaks are subconscious, so it's hard for me to tell you. I know you don't want to hear it, but that's it. I don't know how to explain some of this, except for experience will tweak it for you. Yeah. Your experience will make you make little adjustments. It'll make you make little adjustments. And just nap into smooth areas if you can. If you can't create smooth areas, then that's the first. That should be first on your priority list. Learn how to make smooth areas with short flakes. Or grind it. You do the flake over grind. Don't be shy. Ask one of your buddies, "Hey, can you grind this for me, please? I'll pay you $10 per inch." That's too much. Just get one of your buddies to give you his leftover, if he has any, or if they're broken, already preformed bifaces. And then work on those. I took too much off. Dang it. I hit way too high on that. I don't know if I slipped or what. It's the contour in this was different. That's what it is, right? I was used to using the one that's on the left, that contour, and I went to this contour, and I ended up hitting it too high. Because I think I'm used to the other one. But I'm using this one now because it has a better surface. Supposedly will create a better initiation and not be all wonky. But the transition between the two shapes is, I think that's what's messing with me. Anyways. Yeah, see, I can really get the, a better accuracy on the platform with this very consistent roundishness rather than with this that's got the two. It's got an abrupt angle change. And then I can do this. If I know how to be, or if I know I'm being consistent with the way that I'm hitting it, I can try to predict the flakes a little bit better. Alright, so I messed that up on the tip. Dang it. Yeah. That was not good. Hold on. So the rest of this, it shouldn't make too much difference. Let's say, so the rest of this is just pretty straightforward. I've already got rid of all the major lumps. Now I just got to be more strategic about what I hit. And try to thin it down. Without hinging it. Yeah. Two massive flakes. And I can do it better or easier with this bobber because it's more rounded and consistent. Some would say, well, because it is rounded. Yeah, well, I can hit it with the flat too, but this has got too many lumps. Voila. See that? How did I do it? I still got a slight hinge at the end, but it's minimized. Yeah, I minimized it. How? Well, I didn't try to go too far with it. It went further than I thought, actually. Than I thought it would. I have to try to not to overdo it. I have to try to not to overdo it. And then damage repair or damage control is a good thing. Yeah. If you can't avoid the steps and hinges, just learn to damage control them. Yeah. Or both. Do your best not to do the hinges and steps, and then also learn the damage control. Both. Yeah. That's the way to do it. Right? Right. I still don't see the tweaks. You're not going to see the tweaks. The tweaks are imperceptible. Yeah. You're going to have to learn those on your own. I can't help you with that. And part of the tweaks could be the way you hold the bopper. It could be part of the tweaks that you develop. I know that I hold a bopper in different ways, and sometimes I don't even know why I switch the way I'm holding it. It just feels better, and a lot of napping is by feel, so it's okay. If it feels better, try it. It might feel better for a reason. A reason related to the napping, and not just physical fatigue and feeling more comfortable just because of it's resting some of your muscles. Like holding it like this could be resting muscles that holding it like this will make sore or make more sore. So you switch because I'm getting sore in that position, so you switch. But in other cases, it's going to feel like, you know what, I just need to use the long axis because it's a little bit slower, because I'm not swinging it, I'm pushing it. This is a little bit slower strike. Sometimes it works better with a slower strike for longer flakes. Okay? But sometimes it doesn't. Like that. It didn't make a long flake. It could have. Perfectly good ridge. But this one is a faster strike because you're swinging it. So, faster also means more energy in the initial amount of force. More energy in the initial amount of force. More energy imparted to the workpiece at the point of impact. Yeah, when you swing it. Because velocity increases momentum. Yeah. Some people need to know these terms, these physics expressions in order to nap well. I don't know why. I think it's just because it puts their mind at ease. Because you don't really need to know any of that stuff. They didn't know that back in the day. They had no physics. All they had was practical experience. And they were able to nap just fine. In most cases, I think. Yeah. Well, maybe the nappers were taught by aliens. And they did know physics. They took classes and everything. I don't know. You don't even know. Right? We can imagine. Not very likely, though. Because the aliens would be teaching us how not to screw up our social media. Yeah. It's getting so screwed up. And it's not in a fun way either. You know how sometimes cringe can be funny? No. It's getting to the point where it's not funny anymore. Yeah. So I got to take back the edge for symmetry, and also because I need to drive long flakes and big flakes still. So I need a more robust edge. See, this is getting thin already here on this one. As an example, it needs to be either taken back and beefed up, or I got to take most of the flakes off of this side to get in there. I like to have the option of being able to remove flakes from both sides, so I'm probably going to trim a little bit more of that delicate area. But we'll see. I just need to figure out what areas I need to remove mass from. I actually don't need to be very careful with this because this glass feels really nice. Nice and flexible. But I'm being very careful with it just so I can show you the procedure that you should be using if you're new. You should be being very careful. You should be very careful. If you're new. Yeah, some might say, well, you need to be careful no matter what. What are you talking about? No, you can get away with being careless in the beginning as long as you know how to damage control your mistakes. Yeah. Not everyone would agree with that, but that's the way I nap. I agree with the way I nap. Okay? You might not agree, and that's fine. You agree with the way you nap, and I agree with the way I nap. Okay? All right. Just getting down to the nitty-gritty. I don't know. It's actually pretty good glass. Why do I say that? Because it is predictable. I thought there'd be more bubbles and fractures in this, but this is actually pretty good. I might not even get to that green piece because I'm liking this blue piece. Yes, I am. And these are these crud flakes. I don't know. Some of them I'm not going to be napping, but I'll just save the big ones and I'll go through these later. Yeah. Someone probably wants me to nap this. Yeah. But I figured napping the bigger one helps me explain more about the hinges and steps. I got a lot of Arrowhead material. Yes, I do. And some of this stuff, I just need to nap around the edges. I don't even need to nap the interior. Yeah. This particular piece of glass, it's not very divey, which is good. Well, we'll see if when it starts getting thin. Not if, but when it starts getting thin, we'll see. As you can see the platforms in the striking areas, right, that I'm creating. And which ones I'm hitting, I'll hit anything. But hopefully, the more you watch, the more you'll see what my technique is. I don't even know what my general technique is. I'll hit almost any edge if I think it'll work. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it works really good, and I didn't even expect it. So that one didn't work that I expected to work, and this one was, seemed so-so, and it worked a lot better. So you don't know. I mean, I could tell you that I meant to do that, but I'd be lying. Okay. It's okay, you can lie to me. No, I don't want to. No. I want to see skill. You can lie. No, even if you want to see skill, I'm not going to lie and say that I meant to do that. Okay? Deal? Yeah. I'm not doing good on removing lumps from the middle. I need to figure out some other way. Oh. And my posture is suffering because I'm using my higher powered glasses. So I had to crouch lower and get closer to the workpiece. I'm right up near the phone and the microphone. So if I sound like a mouth breather, it's because I'm really close to the microphone. And I could be a mouth breather. I don't even know. If I start paying attention to that, my napping will get all messed up. That's my excuse. I don't know. What am I going to do? Ooh, that one cut through my glove. It felt like it got my finger. But the flake was good. It just traveled further than I thought it would. I think. Yes? No? I don't know. Oh, okay. I'm afraid to hit it now. Flinching. Flinching a little bit. Oh, I just caught myself mouth breathing. It's going to mess me up. Yeah. Okay. It feels better if I do it this way, but it's not working better. So that's one time where it feels like it should work, but it didn't. Yeah. So yeah, you can't always go by feel. I know that doesn't help. Oh well. Swing. Or do it like that. No. I'm starting to scoop it. Just got to keep working it until I don't scoop it. And then go, all right, let's do that again. Let's do the not scooping again. So whatever I did that made it not scoop, let's do that. And what made it not scoop is the abrading, I think. It's got to be robust enough for me to drive the flake I need fully, so it doesn't stop short, so it doesn't scoop. Yeah. Yikes. What did I do? My goodness. And that was a tiny little platform, if I remember correctly. Okay, that changes a lot, because now it's developing a curve, and it's way too heavy on the tip. Okay. It took a bite out. think I might have hit the Goldilocks zone and went a little bit past as far as the amount that I abraded. A little bit too much, perhaps. Yikes. No. Okay. I'm paying attention to the edge, not paying attention to. Make sure I got a good grip on it, and I don't want it to fall onto my flakes. Hold on. If I do drop it again, at least it'll go onto the towel and not a bunch of flakes. I'm probably going to drop it again, flipping it around a lot. Okay. Yikes, I don't like it. Yeah, I scooped that out. I took away too much. Alright, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to lose some length too, a little bit. Yep. I can already see. I have to lose a little bit. No good options. Where are my abraders? There it is. Yikes. Yeah, that's good. Trying to sneak up on it. I'm not very sneaky. What I mean by that is trying to eke out a little platform where it doesn't want that platform, or eke out a little striking area where it doesn't really want one. It didn't work. It scooped it a little bit too much. It's okay. I'll probably have to switch over to indirect percussion to get the accuracy that I'm looking for, without having to use all my brain power just on hand-eye coordination and get myself worn out before the final thinning. Yeah. I don't want to get myself worn out before that. Why am I taking some off of this side? So I can move the edge a little bit that way. I have a little bit of meat to work with here. I need to move the edge that way to attack the lump. Same with this side. This side's a little bit better as far as hitting in that direction. I want to get a smaller bopper for this. No, because then that just introduces another change. And right now I got to focus on the flake themselves without having to deal with the learning curve of the new weighted bopper. Whenever you change the weights on the boppers or whatever, there's a slight learning curve. So if you can deal with the slight learning curve with the new bopper at that particular stage, it's okay. But I've got too much very difficult damage control to do to be messing with the variability of the new bopper size. At least I'm used to this weight for now. So even though maybe a smaller bopper would be a little bit better in overall terms, I'm just going to hold off. I'm already used to this one. And I think about those things, yeah. Sometimes. Usually I just go with the one I'm using until it starts to not work so well. Then I go, okay, yeah, I need to change the size. Because one of the reasons why this flake was so large is because of bopper size. It's a pretty hefty bopper. So not only did I not hit in the right spot, I'm using a bopper that's pretty heavy, so it can, if I make a mistake, it's going to make a big mistake. Didn't go anywhere. Oh well. How am I avoiding step fractures? Well, you can see some of them in the middle there. So I'm not avoiding them all that much. Yes, but how do you do it? How do you avoid it? Don't do that. Don't do that, because I don't want that. Yeah, I know, but at this stage, the way I nap, I don't care too much about these minor things. It'd be nice if this all smooth like this up here. But if there is a little mistake, I can still get it later. It requires too much planning with every single flake to get all of them correct at this stage. And by the time I get to the final stage, my brain says, all right, I've had enough for tonight. Yeah. And then I say, no, just do it. You know you're not that much of a wuss. Just do it. And then smack, crackle, break. Yeah. No, come on. Don't put the incipients in. Yeah, the smoother the surface, the less those happen. Yeah. So yeah, I mean you're right. I mean if I had started with perfect flakes throughout the if I had used perfect flakes throughout the whole process, including the start, it would have been better. Yes, I know. But I've given you the reasons many times why I don't do it that way is because I get worn out. And then by the time I hit the last stage, all my beautiful flaking up to that point gets messed up. Yeah. That's my problem. one of my issues. I can do perfectly nice surfaces until I reach the final stage, and then I'm worn out. And I mess up the final stage. What good does it do you to be perfect in the beginning? You're going to mess up the end. But yeah, if you can do it, then do it. If you can be perfect throughout the whole process, you're going to be a lot better off, yes. And your results will be better. Yeah. Better than mine. I gotta make doo-doo with what I got. And my brain it's known for being doo-doo-ish. All right, so are we ready for indirect percussion now? I think we are. Let's see the dimension. I lost 1/2 inch, right? Because it was at 9. Yeah. I do still have slight steppings at the endings. But as long as I don't overdo it as far as length on these flakes, and as long as I have good surfaces, or fairly good surfaces, I don't get too many of these. If I try to nap into a thick area, or a bulky area without enough power or thickness to the flake, it'll step. Yeah. So it's best to have clean, smooth surfaces through the whole process. I mean, I've got to tell you that because that's true. I don't do it that way because it's difficult. It's too difficult for me to maintain my groove. I lose the groove after a while. And all my work in the beginning goes to waste at the end. I'd rather have issues dealing with damage control at the end, or toward the end, when I can still have the mental energy to do it. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm reaching the end of my ability to make nice flakes on an edge that's this thin. I mean, it's not all that thin, but it's thin, relatively speaking. Yeah, and the flakes are not traveling that far. I can make them travel a lot further with indirect percussion. How it does it? Indirect percussion is magic. Yeah. I don't know how it does it. Doesn't make any sense. It just does. Now I gave you a lot of my thought processes. That was close. That could have fallen on my biface. I've given you a lot of my thought processes during that time. And you might be amazed that my thought process is not all that great. I can even be wrong in my thought processes, believe it or not, and then mess up because I'm thinking wrong. Yeah. How can you be thinking wrong when it comes out right? I don't know. It's magic. That's all I can say. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Other than my subconscious has a little bit of muscle memory that saves me. Yeah. My muscle memory saves me. Yeah. Except when it does that. Dang it. Look at that crush. Look at that crushing. It's so embarrassing. Yeah. Very embarrassing. I'm learning. It's the new learning curve because I changed the tool. Yeah. That's my excuse. Is that the reason? No, it's not the reason. The reason is I'm trying to be expedient, and it's requiring me to be more focused. Yeah. It's telling me, you're not being focused. I'm going to make you pay for not being focused. Dang it. That didn't respond at all. Man. And there's incipients all in there. All the incipients that were flying around earlier, they all landed right in there now. All of them. They're living right there. So I've got to kick them all out at once. They're squatters. The incipients are squatters. Yeah. How do you get them out? You have to destroy the place where they're living. That's the only way to do it. They're not going to come out unless you just blow away that whole living area. That's the only way to get them out. Okay. Did I do it? The wrecking ball came in and took out most of it. Okay. I can move on now. And I'll come back to that later. Mop it up later. The little remnants. I got bigger fish to fry right now. There's bigger lumps. Man, they didn't go very far. Just wait. The magic will happen eventually. Dang it. Yep. Sacrifice part of the edge for that one. It still didn't get it all. Still too wide. Yeah. I'm trying to preserve too much width. Let's take down the width so it's not so difficult. Some might say you're making it all crackly. Yeah, this is just preliminary stuff, okay? Don't worry. It'll all work out in the end. Not like that, I won't. I hit backwards by mistake. So how much did I trim off? About 1/8 of an inch, something like that. Except here, I didn't take much off the tip. Most of it was like the lower 2/3. And I figured out why I have a bad habit of leaving this really thick here is because it's widest here, and I need a lot of meat to remove the thickness. So it's just something I tend to do last is remove the thickness from the base. That's why it's usually thick there toward the end. It's because I leave it for last. It's something simple. It's just a simple thing that I do that it gets on my. I get on my own nerves, but it's a simple reason why I do it. You know, I tell you guys to thin the ends down first, but then I go ahead and leave the bottom thick. Yeah, it gets on my nerves. I get on my own nerves. Okay. I gotta make sure the whole surface is convex. A lot of times the surface just beyond the edge is not convex. There's a little dip and I forget to look at that. I gotta make sure all the surfaces are perfectly convex before I hit, especially near the edge. Because flakes, they love convexity. Yes, they do. Curved flakes, they like convexity. And you gotta make the convexity match the tendency to curve of that particular type of flake, in that particular type of material. Yeah. So nice. Indirect percussion is magic. There's no other explanation. Except when it does that. When it doesn't go anywhere and some of the incipients land in there. It's magic until it isn't. Yeah, I guess you can look at it that way. I hate having to sculpt the edge. So I leave it for last. I normally just let the abrading naturally sculpt the edge. But when it starts to get down to the nitty-gritty, I gotta make sure the edge is just right. I can't be all that opportunistic. When am I going to regularize this wonky edge? Later. Just wait. I don't need to regularize it right now. This is actually really good glass. I'm surprised. Even after all this and some of the crushing on the edges, it's probably some of the best glass that I've worked so far. Yeah. It's really nice, actually. Okay, this is critical. See, I needed to not have made a mistake with that one. Dang it. It's a partially detached flake, and it scooped it. See that? It scooped it, and it made a hinge. Exactly what I'm supposed to show you how to avoid. Yep. I have failed in my mission. So I'm just going to show you how to damage control it. Yep. Yeah, but what if you hinge it and make a land bridge? I hate that. Just close your eyes. There might be a land bridge on this one, but just close your eyes and then, or fast forward it or whatever. There. No land bridge, okay? You're safe. What's a land bridge? Some of you new guys? I mean, you know what a land bridge is, but what is a land bridge in knapping? Is when you try to get the step fracture from the other side and it stops just before it removes it and it leaves a little bridge. It looks just like a land bridge. Yeah. Dang it. Look what you made me do. Look what you made me do. Now I gotta put it in the broken bifaces. I wouldn't do that to you. Besides, I need to take a lot of that edge away anyway to get rid of that. The incipient squatters in there. But that's just, that is too much for my taste. Yeah. That's disappointing. That hurt. Yes, it did. But think about it strategically. How can I take advantage of removing the edge? What advantage does that give me? That allows me to reform this whole edge to remove flakes, to remove lumps if I need to. If this was really bad, crunchy, steppy side, I could, take back this edge and then focus on uncrunchifying it. Luckily, it's not crunchy, so I don't need to do much damage control. Luckily, because I don't really feel like doing a lot of damage control right now. No, this has been a long process. Over an hour. But see, just because that little bite, I gotta take a lot of edge off. And if I don't do it now, chances are the symmetry will be a little more difficult to handle later. I don't know. I just like to do this now. I think I've learned over time that it's just better to do it now. And get that symmetry back. than to do it later. And I didn't, there's no big advantage now. I don't have a big advantage over the whole thing by taking back that edge. I mean, it's already pretty smooth, so I just got to continue thinning. Yeah. I try not to bite the edge again. How do you try not to bite the edge? Well, I can't be hitting too high up on the edge. And I can't be trying to remove really big flakes. Right? Right. I'll get that later. Yeah, I just damage control all the hinges that I put in. Yep, that's my final answer. Just damage control them. It's hard to avoid them, so I'm just going to damage control them. I know what it is, man. You just get narrator syndrome. If you talk about it, you can't do it. You might be right about that. Narrator syndrome. It's a syndrome related to narration. If I try to tell you how to do it, I can't do it. There's no such thing as narrator syndrome, dude. You got dum-dum syndrome. Okay, fine. I got both. I'm special. I have both. How am I doing that? I don't know how I'm doing it. It's magic. Yeah. Magic. That's it. That's what the land bridge is. See that? It didn't go all the way to get to that. Now I got a land bridge. See how clear that land bridge is? See it? You don't see it yet? It's right here. See that step fracture, that flake step fractured right there before it got to the back side of that. Now I got a land bridge. What am I going to do? I'm gonna erode the seashore. This is an erosion stick. I just erode it and it goes away. Yes? Almost. I wish. Man. These little sharp shards. Sharp shards. Long and sharp shards. They're getting to me. I can feel them everywhere now. They've been bugging me for a little while, but now they're getting itchy. Dang it. And I think I got one right there in between my fingers. Yes? I got one right here. That one already came out. Alright, let's try it again. This is the nitty gritty. That's why these little things bug me. It's still in there. It's in the glove. Yes? Or is it still in there? There was one there. I think it's in the glove. Okay. I don't know where I was, so I'm just opportunistically napping. I was down here, wasn't I? I've watched other people, they don't have as much trouble as you do. Okay, fine. I'm working, like I said, I'm working with a brain that's not all that great. Okay? They just take their little leg pads and their little boppers and they just go and they do it better than you. I know, I've heard it all. I know. I don't deny it. Yeah, indirect percussion is magic until it isn't. What's going on right there? That worries me. Oh, that's what it is. I got a lot of issues there. Okay. Okay. Time to quit. When I make a mistake like that, it's time to quit. Can you see it? Undetached flake right there. That just ruined my contour. The whole flake. And I don't know why I did that. Alright, so how am I going to get this super thin? If I keep biting the edge, how am I going to get this super thin? That's a good question. I might not be able to. Now, if I have a good night's sleep, I might be napping differently tomorrow. And I might be able to thin it down really well. You never know. That could be an issue. what's the chances of me being able to get a good night's sleep? Not very good. But I think if I slow down even more, I can thin it. Yeah. I've had to slow down already a lot. But if I slow down more, I think I can thin it more easily. And the way to avoid, the best way that I can see to avoid the step fractures is just to create a smoother surface. Yeah. That seems to be the most productive overall piece of advice. And yeah, do it early. Not like I do it. I get all messy in the beginning. But if I wasn't so messy, it would be easier for me to stay neat toward the end. Yeah. I just wish I had the mental endurance. Yeah, I'll finish this up tomorrow. The easiest thing for me to do is just take it down a little bit more narrow and then very slowly pick at it, just like I've done in previous videos. Okay. Hour and 30 minutes is my limit. For my own sanity and probably for yours as well. And there might be an argument that says that, you know, you just create problems for yourself at the end if you're not nice and neat in the beginning. And the home stretch, you're making it more difficult for yourself at the home stretch. Yeah, there's probably an argument to be made for that approach. But I've tried for years to figure that one out. And the way I do it now is the way that I've learned to work with what I got. Yeah. So I'll be haphazard toward the beginning and then, in the beginning, and then toward the end I will be more focused on the damage control and the neater, smoother surface when it starts to get down to the nitty gritty. Yeah. But yeah, this is a nice material. Yep. I don't know how well this will sharpen up. It's probably going to act just like regular glass. It'll be difficult to sharpen. But it's a high-grade glass. Yeah, it's nice. Very nice. And I can see the edges. Yeah. With this blue, it's working out pretty good. Yeah. All right, so I'll finish this tomorrow or sometime during the week. Next week. It depends on how much I got to do for the auction. Or how much I've got to do for the auction and combined with my other projects. All right. So there you go. That's it.